Hello again, everyone. Melth here, with more of my Baldur's Gate 3 challenge run. If you don't know the full challenge rules, they're in the YouTube video description. The summary of it is that I'm going to be doing no long rests, no healing potions for my party, and trying to tackle every encounter with combat and with the hardest group of enemies that is possible for that fight. Watch out for spoilers throughout this run. So, exciting times here. I'm about to take the fight to the remaining two goblin leaders and take out Dror Raglan and Minthara. Should be a pretty great series of fights. But first, it's also an exciting time for strategy here as we reach level 5, which is a huge step forward in character power and has a lot of important and interesting choices to make. I'm going to take care of that. If you're not interested in character building type stuff and that kind of strategy, I'll provide a time set to get back to the fighting. Now over here, I think I should probably end my disguise and then talk to this merchant. See, the reason that I save my level ups, as I mentioned before, is that when you level up, it resets merchant inventory, which normally resets only when you do a rest, which I can't do many of, and so, therefore, this for me is a rare chance to get a new stock at the merchants.
You recognize the crush.
She's openly wearing Bishop, the symbol of the Mafia, which is not too bright as far as Bhaalista is concerned. Like, true, we're at a goblin camp, and the goblins won't care, but other people are going in and out, and her face is uncovered, so word would probably spread. He won't point that out to her, though. Let's see what she's got. Ah, interesting. Elixirs of Vigilance are quite good, I think. One of the best elixirs in the game. Especially gives like one of your summons in Act 3 or something like that, where you have powerful summons that have bad initiative orders and will be with you for the entire run if you can keep them alive. But they're hard to make because they come from hook horror claws, and there aren't many hook horrors in the entire game. So, good to buy them whenever you have the chance to do so. Now, let me first max out her attitude toward me by giving her 800. That's what the price is here at level 4. It will increase if I wait till level 5. It's worth doing this to get better prices for her because she'll be around in Act 2 and 3 as a merchant, and we'll have some very good stuff in Act 2. So, worth taking care of now, I think. Let's buy this now that the price is better. And we could buy other things from her, but we'll get even better prices once I hit level 5 momentarily, so it's probably worthwhile to just sit on that. These other things will get reset, but they're not that important anyway. Let's take care of that level up. Level 5 is a really exciting time. Spellcasters, at least pure spellcasters, which Bhaalista is not, get 3rd level spells, which are a huge step up over 2nd level spells. Fighter type characters get extra attack, which is a huge power increase for them. You also get proficiency bonuses increased for all classes, no matter who you are, which makes it so that you are just kind of better at what you're supposed to be good at, from fighting to skills and so forth, so that's a huge step forward. And I also get a subclass now because I'm level 2 Warlock, level 3 Bard. So, there are, I would say, 2 really good Bard subclasses in the game. Valor is just not as good. I won't say it's awful by any means. I mean, it's still a Bard, and Bard is great, but Lore and Swords are probably better. So I think, let's talk about Swords first. Swords gets a fighting style. They're kind of the more fighting type Bard. Instead of helping other people fight, you do the fighting yourself a bit. And they're decent at that job. They get extra attack at level 6, not now, but level 6. And they get a fighting style, but not really a good fighting style necessarily. And they also get the ability to spend their Bardic Inspiration to do extra attacks, basically with things like Slashing Flourish ranged, which is pretty good when you have Inspiration to spend on that. Now, on this run where I can't rest, and therefore can't really reset my Inspiration, I can't do that very often. So for me, it wouldn't really be that good. But it is strong if you can do that. And of course, you're still a full spellcaster who's also able to fight decently, so that's great, really. And in the late game, there's a combination of items you can get that's really, really strong, where you basically just get a lot of attacks to charge up your spell save DC, and then you release spells that the enemy can't make their saving throws against to just force them to fail. Takes a lot of setup, takes the right combination of items that's not available to Act 3. I wouldn't think too much about that at this point in the game, but I will say it exists with the Arcane Trickster Ring and things like that. Lore, though, I think is just like the best frontman class in the game. You get tons of bonus skills, which is amazing. All bards get expertise, so that's also great, but other bards have that too. You get spells from any spell list whatsoever, basically, which is tremendous versatility. Lore Bard is the best spellcasting bard. And you also get this unique and really good for action economy feature, Cutting Words. It lets you, as a reaction, spend your Bardic Inspiration to make enemies basically fail attack rolls or fail saving throws. It's amazingly good. You can just spend an inspiration and a reaction to make an enemy take a penalty to their saving throw when you know they were close to failing anyway, or something like that, and that gives you a lot of reliability on your saving throw spells. Now, unfortunately, you can't seem to do it when you cast the spell, only when an ally casts it, which I don't get why it works that way. It shouldn't, action economy-wise, but it does. But it's still a really, really good effect. So I think cutting words is what I want, I think lore bard is what I want, the skill points are what I want, so I'm going with that. So, we get 3 new skills, we get expertise and 2 skills. Expertise doubles your proficiency bonus. I think we definitely want sleight of hand because we're doing a lot of lockpicking on this guy. Notice it says I'm going from +3 to +5. That's wrong though. That is not taking into account that my proficiency bonus is increased from +2 to +3. So that's actually going to be +6, which is a pretty hefty increase. I also probably want to take acrobatics to defend myself against being shoved. I could take athletics to both defend myself and also be able to push other people, but on this character I have Eldritch Blast and Repelling Blast to do my shoving for me, so probably don't need athletics. And then one more skill. Lots of intelligence-based ones that are kind of useless most of the time. Survival is okay for spotting buried treasure, but you can just kind of have other party members roll that for you most of the time. I have both intimidation and persuasion, but sometimes those are not options to conversation. I'll take deception to have that. And now 2 expertises. I definitely want persuasion so I can get better prices from merchants from now on to solve my money problems. And then one more I think will be perception. Perception is probably the best skill in the game. It comes up like all the time. So let's go with that. Now, spells. We get 2 level 2 spells if we take one here and swap out a level 1 spell for another one. I think the no-brainer one to take is Silence. It's a great spell. When you need it, you really need it. It's not on the wizard spell list, and they wish it was. You know, it makes it impossible to cast spells if people are silenced, at least most spells, which is great against enemy spellcasters. It also blocks other abilities too. Like, for example, in Honor difficulty, the Owlbear boss can call for its mate, which is just as strong as it is, which is quite dangerous. But if it's silenced, it can't do that. So it shuts down lots of important abilities. So definitely take Silence. Then replacing a spell, Sleep is good against goblins, but not really against anything else, so we'll probably dump that at this point. And what will I take instead? Well, lots of good options here. Cloud of Daggers is an okay damage over time area of effect spell, but the thing is, I try to win every fight in like 1 or 2 rounds if I can, so I don't really have multiple turns for Cloud of Daggers to work its magic. So it's okay, but not great for me, I would say. Crown of Madness, again, I need to let enemies have turns for that to do anything. I don't really want to do that most of the time. Enhance ability is quite good. I will strongly consider that one. Just be able to just cast that and then all day long have an ally have advantage on an ability check is pretty great utility. These ones are all 3 just pretty darn good lockdown 1 enemy type spells. Very all or nothing, but quite good at their jobs, I would say. Invisibility is a great spell, of course. I think the utility of that is pretty obvious. Lesser Restoration, we have people who can cast it, so probably don't need that one. This spell, oh man, they've ruined it in this game. It's a great spell at the tabletop, but it just does nothing here in Baldur's Gate. Don't even consider it. I've got potions for that, or scrolls for it. Shatter is an okay spell, worth considering, I think. It does decent area of effect damage. Bards are not that great at doing area of effect damage most of the time, and it's instantaneous damage, unlike, Cloud of Daggers, so that's pretty good. It has a bigger area of effect too. I'll take that or Enhance Ability. I'll probably go with this for now and then take Enhance Ability next level, most likely. Invisibility is tempting too, but I do have potions and things like that for that. There's no potion of Shatter. I mean, there's scrolls of Shatter, but let's go with that and move right along. Don't want to level him up now. I want to get my money's worth out of all the merchants that had the inventory reset before I level up anyone else. So let's check out our new and improved prices from Roa here.
Need something?
So 88% discount to 50% is a big improvement. Let's do the trick where we exit back out and then go back in to just organize our inventory, which is otherwise just a jumbled mess for some reason. I don't know why merchants work that way, but they do. A potion of speed. I like that. Speed is a very powerful effect. Fireball's a very good scroll. I should pick that up here so I can teach it to a wizard or just cast it. Now that I'm high enough level to cast it. This is pretty good. I do already have one of those. I could buy another one, but I'll probably pass on that. I think everyone else in the party has good initiative and does lower your armor class compared to wearing a +1 breastplate or whatever, so I'll just buy these, I think. Let me also add my wares to the offer here. Sure, okay. So we're making some pretty good money back here. Let's move on to our next merchant.
My species receives from other minds.
Some people asked me if it was worthwhile to give money to Blurg to make him like me. I'm not honestly sure, but I had this kind of thing in mind when I did that. That I'd be going back to him every level up to check what his inventory is and maybe buy alchemy ingredients or scrolls from him. which could well make itself worth it over time if I get a lot of good stuff. Or it could not be worth it. It's just kind of a gamble that I took, I guess. This is pretty good. Ignoring difficult terrain is quite valuable. I might come back for that later. I don't think I need it right now. But it is something that I should probably pick up before leaving Act 1. I guess he actually is still here in Act 2. You can come back to him, but still. This is also pretty good. I might pick that up. I don't use Magic Missile that often, but it will be useful for a couple of fights. Looks like nothing too great. Let me just reset and make sure I've got everything organized. Hill Giant Figure, I can make my own elixirs out of that, but I'm probably coming to the end of the time when I need lots and lots of those. Elixirs of Heroism, though, are great for your summons later on in the game, so I want to stock up on the ability to make those while I can, I think.
Have you spoken with?
Oops, I've been walking near the danger mushroom, so I should be careful about that. Let's get over here to Dareth. There we go. So I could buy that elixir from her. It's cheap now, at least. Maybe I'll do that, but I'll probably pass on that, I think. I'm pretty sure I have enough elixirs to get through the remaining day or two before I have better elixirs available than just giant strength. I do want to pick that up. I also want to retract something I said before about diluted oil of sharpness. See, I originally thought that it was pretty good. Then I thought it was terrible. Now I realize it actually is indeed pretty good. The reason that I got mixed up about that is that in this game it works different than it would work in 5e. See, in 5e and previous D&D editions and so forth, you couldn't stack enhancements like this that make your weapon basically count as magical with an actual magical weapon. But here in Baldur's Gate 3, it does stack, so it is decent at least. I thought it wasn't because for some reason when I was testing it just didn't seem to work, but it does work most of the time at least, so they are decent and maybe worth picking up. Could get another magic crossbow. I do have some non-magical ones I could be replacing, but it's not that high priority, so I'll pass on it for now. I'll want that thing eventually, I think. And down here, she, of course, is the greatest merchant for buying alchemy stuff. Let's see what she has. Make my own Oil of Accuracy? Yes, please. Oil of Accuracy is great. Let me add some other wares to this offer too. I have lots of things that I really want to sell. Okay, I put in a lot of scrolls that I'm unlikely to use and things like that here. Got most of her money there. How much does she have left that I can barter off of her with other party members? Alright. Good enough. Also want to switch my shield back to the one that I had before. Safeguard shield. Okay, off to our next merchant. So here we are back at Erin.
Of course, but please.
Useful trick, just organize your darn inventory.
Need anything else?
Magic arrows are often worth considering. That's a higher level spell that could get and learn that way. Maybe worth thinking about, but I love a lot of the other elemental spells and summon spells in the game. I don't love Minor Elemental, and it is a 4th level spell, so I can't cast it for a while. I'll probably pass on that for now and pick it up later. Let's just use him to sell some of our other stuff, too.
Well, hello.
Here we are at the shopping mall.
I had a feeling you'd be back.
Kinda tempting, but I'll pass. I'll probably go ahead and sell this at this point. I have enough good medium armor, and I'm about to get even better armor soon. I'm also getting to the point where I might just sell Sorrow here. I haven't really been using it. The bonus action ability to just do Thorn Whip is pretty useful sometimes, but it doesn't come up that often. I think I will sell the Jagged Spear. Just because, as far as I'm aware, when you throw it, Torturous Edges wouldn't actually apply, which would be useful. And the save DC against it is so low that it'll rarely be failed by enemies anyway, even though it is a charisma-based save for some reason, which is a thing that people are pretty bad at. This one is useful mostly just as like a stick that grants you resistance to necrotic damage when that comes up, which there will be a lot of in Act 2, so I might hold on to that for now and just have another way to grant resistance to it.
You've been a friend.
Alright, I will leave someone plonked down here so I can get back here faster, and then we'll do a next level up. So, level 5 is a big level for Rangers. They get extra attack and they get second level spells. And Glimstalkers also get Misty Step, which is just a great spell. So, big options here. Silence, excellent. Spike Growth, I mean, you've seen how amazing that is. Yes, I want people to cast Spike Growth. I can also replace a spell. Now, I don't really use a lot of these ones here. I could use Goodberry, I guess, just to get a little bit of healing if I needed it. I haven't needed much so far, but I could use that maybe to generate charges for that Broodmother necklace. So maybe I'll keep that around just in case. Hunter's Mark, though, no way I'm using that now that my bonus action damage has gotten so good, so I'll get rid of that. This would be great in a run where I was abusing stealth. It's an amazingly powerful spell, but I'm not doing that in this run, so I'll pass on that. Probably having another person who can cast Silence is worth something. I won't intend to cast it very often, but it could be useful.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Alright, Merchants have reset. Maul, what have you got?
Feeling you'd be.
No good elixirs. Ah, Lightning Bolt. I'm hoping for that. Yes, please.
You've been a.
Let's get back to the other merchants in this general area. More magic arrows. I might pick up a few of those. Remove curse. Yeah, I want to have options for that. When you need it, as I've said before. You'll need a lot of it in Act 3. A lot of things will just curse you there that you want to be able to dispel. Or there'll be a lot of, kind of traps that can be disarmed by doing remove curse on them, for example. Another scroll of fireball. I mean, I would like to have extras, but I don't need extras, so I might pass on that for now. Heroism, yes please. She'll very often have smoke powder bombs, which are worth picking up, I would say. Yes, please, to more oils of accuracy.
Underdark.
Back at Roa Moonglow, who has a very generalized kind of inventory most of the time. Blight is one of the spells that sounds pretty cool, but is not really good in practice most of the time. See, the thing is, there are not many plant enemies in the game, and most of the ones that do exist are in Act 2 and are resistant to necrotic damage, thereby making it not actually very good. I might take that. I have ideas for that. Ray of Frost would be good to teach to a wizard so I can spare them a cantrip slot, so I'll get that. Ice Storm, 4th level spell there, but again, I can't cast those yet per my rules, so I will pass on that for the time being. You know, I once remember having a shortage of arrows of lightning in Act 3 in the previous game, so I might pick this up now while I'm thinking about it. And maybe I'll leave Astarion here to just keep an eye on her inventory so I don't need to go back if she doesn't have anything new. It is time to reset again by leveling up Karlach. Now this is going to be a huge level up for Karlach, because now she has 3rd level spell slots. And as a wizard in this game, one interesting feature is that you can learn spells from scrolls as long as you have an appropriate spell slot level, even if your wizard level doesn't match up to it. Not the way it works in D&D 5e, but it is how it works here, and it makes for some pretty cool builds, like Karlach's build. Karlach, you might remember, is a Tempest Cleric. Tempest Clerics have the ability to, once per short rest, max damage a lightning or thunder spell. Well, the thing is, there are no good lightning or thunder spells for clerics, basically, but there are for wizards. So whereas Tempest Cleric was pretty unimpressive most of the time in 5e, here in Baldur's Gate 3, there's actually a pretty darn good combination with them, which I'm going to be using in this game. I think it's a lot of fun. I've always wanted to make it work in 5e, and it just was never viable, but here it is. We also now get a feat for the first time, because the way that works, if you don't already know, is that you get a feat at every 4th level in a single class. Not 4th level character level, 4th level in a single class. Now I'm reaching character level 4 for cleric, so I can get my first feat, and I want alert, so that everyone can always win initiative. And then for cantrips, I've already got most of the good ones. She knows this one from her race. Light has its uses occasionally, especially in Act 2. I probably won't have people who can cast light, so I'll take that now, I think. We'll come back to you, Lae'Zel. Let us have Karlach learn Lightning Bolt. It costs gold, but man, is it going to be worth it for her. So in your wizard spells here, let's get rid of Featherfall, which is kind of utility based, and take Lightning Bolt, so when we want to cast it, we can deal massive lightning damage.
Need something?
Let's see, do you have anything good? Aha! Elixir of Vigilance, yes please. I think I've bought enough magic arrows probably for the time being. Another Lightning Bolt scroll, yeah, I'll take it. 3rd level spell slots are pretty limited at this point. I will probably want to be able to cast these more often than I'll have 3rd level spell slots, so I'll take it. The rest looks pretty mediocre. Let us see if there's something good at Maul before I head down the long trip to her. Magic Weapon is interesting. I might actually pick that up. See, again, it's another thing that in 5e is not really good because it doesn't stack with having actual magic weapons. But here in Baldur's Gate, it does. So, could be useful. I'll think about it if I don't find it at some other merchant in the meantime.
You've been a friend.
Leave me, I said. You've done enough damage already.
Okay, an Elixir of Heroism here is very welcome. You know, some elixirs are cheaper than others. For some reason, Barkskin, which is the terrible elixir, is in the high price category. Don't know why. Ah, Hyena. That's 1/3 of a speed potion. I'll take that. And Warfang is 1/3 of a bloodlust elixir. I will take that too.
Don't worry, kid. In Baldur's Gate, I had a feeling you'd be back.
Alright, let's buy that magic weapon scroll. We'll give that to one of our wizards to cast.
You've been a friend.
Time for our last level up. Now this one, there are some options for, I would say. So Druid get level 3 spells at this point, but in my opinion, other than plant growth being pretty good, most of the Druid level 3 spells are just not that great. You know, Called Lightning is okay over the course of a very long battle, but over the short one, it's better, like barely better than doing a cantrip. It's not that good. Sleet Storm is okay. It's like decent area control. Plant Growth is probably better at that job most of the time. But the rest are just not that impressive. So if you're going to multi-class, this is a decent level for it. Now, on the other hand, you do get multi-attack in your animal form if you're doing Druid at this point, but I tend not to be in animal form that often because I want to be able to cast my spells or throw objects at long range. So you can make an level 5 Druid. I won't say you're wrong to want level 5 Druid, but I think I might be better off taking another class instead. Now, which other class do I want? Well, Wizard is pretty tempting, oddly enough, for the same reason that it was, well, similar reason that it was for Karlach. Just, Wizards gets some really, really good spells. Shield is amazing. Find Familiar is amazing. I want more pets in this party. Fireball, I can learn that from a scroll. That's fantastic. Druids don't really have that many good offensive nuke type spells. So that's strongly worth considering, I would say. I don't have good intelligence for it, I would need to respec, but that could be well worth doing, I would think. Cleric, especially Light Cleric, could also be good. I get good defensive bonuses that way. I can get the Bless spell so 2 people can cast it, so it's not just Karlach using up all our spell slots on that. That's also pretty solid. I think I will go with Wizard though and just keep upping the defenses for the whole team. I want like everyone to have the shield spell if they can have it, because that is a huge defensive bonus. And I'll need to just respec to get better intelligence. I've got scrolls to learn Ray of Frost, so I can skip that. She already has Mage Hand from her race, but the class version of it is better because it's every short rest rather than every long rest. Another person casting Light could be pretty good before Act 2, so maybe I'll take that. I'll go respec her so that we have her stuff figured out more properly.
Working my hunches off for dinner while she sat here.
Okay, let's group up Karlach, who was right there anyway. Let's check out Maul's inventory.
I had a feeling you'd be back. Anything else?
Nothing too good, fair enough.
You've been
I've decided that I want to steal from her the Idol of Sylvanas, so I'm going to get set up and do that, I think.
Have to keep going.
You can do it.
No one stopped me yet. What part?
And also switch back into my Dark Elf form to get a bonus.
I don't need any attention right now. Let's see what you're hiding.
Pretty easy to get, but let me go for the main thing that I'm after here first. The idol isn't magical, so it's hard to find in the list, but it's here somewhere. There we go.
Oh my.
That would be a heck of a check there, but that would be kind of cheesy to just steal their gold, so I won't do that.
Never wanted.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Of course, but please, remember.
Another scroll of magic weapon. You know, that could be okay. Just have one wizard cast it on one person, one wizard cast it on another person. But probably the only wizard who really needs to cast it would be whoever's casting it on Astarion, I would think, because he's my main and really only super good weapon attacker. More people can see invisibility is pretty useful, so I might... Oh wait, I need to go out of drow form. Right. There we go.
Need anything else?
Leave me, I said. You've done enough damage already.
Ah, 2 oils of accuracy. Yes, please. Warfang. Oh, double smoke powder bombs? Uh-huh. Sadly, no haste spores. Those are a super rare ingredient. Usually still have like one of them over the course of this many resets, but none for me. Oh well. I'm loaded up with great consumables. I'll take that. Do love speed potions. Fireball. Do I want to spend the money on that? Tempting. I think we'll get the lightning bolt scroll instead. That's more useful to me in particular.
Come on, let's go.
Well, I've got thousands more gold than I started with, and I've got a ton of useful consumables and some new scrolls and spells and whatnot. So I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Pleasure. Need something?
You know, maybe just buy one more remove curse scroll. I might be going overboard on those, but I remember needing a lot in Act 3.
Pleasure.
Alright, let's take care of re-speccing Lae'Zel.
Enough waiting. I crave blood.
Let's have just her go to camp. Now I want to make sure that I don't lose out on any buffs that I had or regain anything that I shouldn't have. So I'm at 39 out of 42 HP. Let me write this stuff down, and I'm going to back up here so I don't accidentally give myself anything I don't want. I do like how all the different camps are set up in different dungeons, motifs, and layouts and things like that, although occasionally finding the person you want to actually find can be surprisingly difficult.
Fate, dost thou require a new ally, as thou did?
So, you want to start with Druid for sure. Get better hit points that way, nothing else really matters about it. So, the question is, do we want like a 16 and 12 intelligence and wisdom, or vice versa, or like 14-14, or what? I think we're going to ultimately want, actually, to have the better intelligence and not as good wisdom. The thing is just that few of our good druid spells that we're casting actually allow or require saving throws. Whereas a lot of the wizard stuff we're doing, like throwing firebolts or Rays of Frost when we do that, or Fireball, that does have a saving throw attached to it. Plus, we get a lot more druid spells known just from our druid class levels compared to our only one wizard level, so we get more flexibility from having the intelligence. Eventually, we'll probably want to be giving her maybe the gloves of dexterity to get good dex, so that we can free up some stat points that way. But for the time being, this will do, I think. We'll get that figured out. Alright, for sure we want spike growth. We could do enhance ability sometimes. Decent use of spell slots. We'll think about that one. Pass Without Trace is great if you're abusing stealth, but I'm not doing that, so I won't take it for that reason. And then we definitely want these two, that one. We could take Entangle, but we don't really have the spell save DC for that, so it's not as good. Like with Fairy Fire, it's not as good as it used to be. We have a Bard to cast that now, so don't need it as much. Even if you pass your saving throw against this, you still get bogged down in it, so that's still a decent effect. And then we'll take Wizard, like we talked about before. We've got a scroll for that one. You definitely want to take Find Familiar and Shield because you won't have scrolls of those and they're great. Just kind of picking utility ones. I've got scrolls of most of these things anyway, but this could be useful. Let's have Bhaalista go to camp and talk to Gale.
These boots have seen everything.
My condition likes being ignored as little as I do. I must consume another artifact. And soon.
So which of these is least useful? Spider set boots are pretty useless now, I would say, all in all, because I've gotten past the main spiderweb section. Not too impressed with this one, because it doesn't seem to work anymore when you use a range attack. So maybe we'll feed him that one.
Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mystra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent.
I think it already really kind of was.
I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held.
As I said before, pretty much all of our characters have some kind of epic background where they used to be a lot stronger than they were now, but were conveniently powered down to level 1 from the beginning of this plot.
Compose it. Much like a musician or a poet.
I think Bhaalista, being a bard, understands that.
The attention of the mother of magic herself. The Lady of Mysteries. The goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse. And later, even my lover.
That's not quite as special as you might think. I mean, Mystra has higher standards than Baal, but not by a lot. A lot of the great wizards in this setting have had Mystra as their lover. So, well, Bhaalista will go with this angle instead, I think.
I am, after all, the villain of the tale. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check.
This is kind of the usual in-game explanation for why there are things like limited numbers of spell slots, why 9th is level with maximum spells and things like that, when there used to be stronger ones back in the past. Just things like that, just to give an excuse for some of those game limitations in the universe.
I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. She only smiled and told me to be contented. Inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower.
Don't condescend to me. I know this story. I'm a bard.
I'll save his history for another time.
Netheril, of course, is the great human empire from the past. Every human or partly human bard, I'm sure, would know about that time when humans almost ruled the entire world and were the masters of magic.
Quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms. Until the day, Mystra.
Mystra being dead also happens just all the time. We're Mystra like number 5 at this point, I think.
Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? The answer was to try. The outcome was to fail. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study.
Now, Gale shows a decent amount of maturity about this, and already seems to kind of realize what his mistakes and so forth were. But then he'll kind of backslide if you point him in the wrong direction later on. Which I think is interesting, just to have a character arc where they already kind of have made the maturation improvements they need to make, but will end up getting worse because of your influence. Not the usual thing you expect from all video game characters, so I appreciate that variety at least, I guess.
Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws.
This is an amateur mistake, Gale. Every wizard knows to take precautions when opening an unfamiliar spellbook.
Gods, is it ever hungry?
This seems overwrought, given we're traveling with actual monsters like, a ball spawn and a vampire.
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill
This doesn't really answer the question at all, Gale. How did he not die that moment you absorbed the fragment?
This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry.
The eruption seems to be plot convenience sized, which I don't really love. You can have him blow up on another continent, your party will still die as a result. You can have him blow up another dimension, your party will die as a result, you get a game over. But then somehow if you have him blow up right over the skies of Baldur's Gate, like an airburst nuclear weapon, that's just fine at the end of the game, somehow.
I know. All of this. It must feel like a betrayal.
It also just feels silly, because everyone else had to confess their even worse secrets and whatnot, so... But Gale remains one of the ones that he likes better than most of the other party members. This is better than being a vampire, it's better than being a Shar worshipper for sure. Better than being whatever Bhaalista thinks he is.
Rallied heart. I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth.
You said it, Florid Man. So, Lae'Zel before was out of wild shapes but had one active. So let me get back to that state that she was in. So I will use Symbiotic Entity, and then I will use... Actually, let me think about one thing here. She also was at 39 HP because she had 8 active. Now 8 is not active anymore on her. I can't really reactivate, I guess. So I could just damage her for 3 hit points, but I feel like I've already lost hit points from turning off 8, so I'll probably leave her the way she is. I've still lost 2 hit points, basically, so that's fine. Let me just use this again to use up the extra charge of that. Alright, that should be back where we were. And then let me throw out... No one's going to be hurt there, right? I just want to waste this spell slot, basically. Because she had wasted 2 second level spell slots before, I think. Not wasted, she had spent them before, that's what I'm trying to say. Alright, that should put us back to where we were, I believe. Alright. Then we need to rebuff everyone, I think, with Longstrider. Or not, actually. I guess people still have it. Huh, I thought she was one of the casters on that. She also lost her scene visibility, which is unfortunate, but I'll live with losing that, I guess.
Is that blood? No. Never mind.
Don't burn yourself.
Let us summon up a familiar. And give it Longstrider. It will be unfortunately without aid, but still. Better off than we were before. Then we can swap up spells. We don't need to keep the familiar out anymore. We can learn you a new spell, or 2 or 3.
I have such a headache.
Eager for battle.
Let's learn that spell and add it to our spell book. Or add it to our equipped spells, that is. We could also use Magic Weapon from somebody. I think that Karlach's level 2 spells are less precious than Lae'Zel's, so let's have Karlach learn Magic Weapon. I think I only have a few more fights left today, so it might not be worth spending a spell slot on it instead of casting it tomorrow. It is probably worth it to have Lae'Zel learn Ray of Frost.
Alright, what now? Let's get going.
As Gale said, even I am now tired of the sound of my own voice. Let's get out of strategizing and get back into battle. Can I start a fight by just talking to them here? I'm not sure what the dialogue options even are.
Depends. Wargie's been getting fat on your kind lately.
Heading to see our new pets.
What are they delaying for? Can't we just swarm the forest?
Drow wants to know exactly where...
I've got 2 blasts of this now, which is quite good. Are you not gonna attack me? What is this?
You're being arrested for assault.
There we go. So the other thing that happens at level 5 is you get double casts of your cantrips, basically. Or rather, you get double power cantrips. For most things like Fireball, it just does double damage, but for Eldritch Blast, you get 2 blasts, which is amazing when you have, as I do, Agonizing Blast. Or, you know, amazing is an exaggeration, which is good. Gives you respectable damage. I want to get a kill on Bhaalista so we get back temporary hit points, since he had to expend those to get hit by a mace last time. So let us shoot that guy, soften him up.
Blood comes easy these days.
And we'll just use 2 shots to finish that guy off. Okay, no big deal. These 3 goblins are nothing. I'm gonna go with just like the throwing stunt because it's funny. Even if I miss. At least it gets him back to where he's easily shot. You'd probably just die from a regular old attack there, so let's go with that one. Turn off Sharpshooter. Pretty easy. Let's give you a weapon. Resistance to Necrotic could be okay, as long as I remember that it'll hurt myself if I attack. I do have ways to generate lots of temporary hit points, so that's okay.
What's inside?
Oh, let me have Shovel turn himself invisible again. I think I remember one sarcophagus having good treasure in it, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Path with corpses. Build my castle with bones.
Well, third we go into the Warg Pens where we'll meet Halsin.
Steal something. Or at the bollocks, will ya? I'm itching to throw someone in the brick. It'll be fun. I promise.
Okay. If you say so.
Being arrested for assault.
So, we've got goblin kids over there that will try to run away and sound the alarm. We've got Halsin inside that cage where they're throwing rocks and torturing him for fun. And we've got all these random other goblins over here that will be no match for us.
Let's turn someone inside out. On my way.
That should be doing a lot more damage. There we go. That's more like it. Let's try to blind them to get those 2 hit bonuses. Their wargs are in this fight, but they're in a cage, so that makes them a lot less threatening. See how good a beast master this guy is, if he can deal with a raven chewing on his face or not. Okay.
Time to kill.
Okay, need to get a kill on someone so I can get another attack at full power. So maybe I'll turn that off. Actually, I've got extra attack to take care of this anyway. But yeah, I will just finish off with that one.
Behold the dance.
You can probably get a double kill at this point if you just fire a ray at each. Oh, you already used up your action? Okay, fine. Pretty easy. These goblins are no match to that at level 5.
Death's cold grip.
You could throw something, but just to make the point, let's do our cantrip that's now level 2. So now it does 2d10 fire damage, which is substantially better than it was before. Oh, well, or we could miss. That's still the same risk as always.
Time to strike.
Alright. Let's toast some goblin kids, shall we?
Make way.
I bet their parents number them the amount of XP they think they're worth.
This is gonna feel good.
There's blood in the air. A better position.
Now, one important thing to know is, I just got myself an extra action by doing that kill before. Now, before Honor Mode came out, that meant if I had extra attack, which I now have, I could do 2 attacks. But with Honor Mode, it doesn't work that way anymore. You only get 1 attack ever with your extra actions from Haste or from Bloodlust Elixirs. So it's much less strong than it used to be on people who are warriors, but it's still as good as ever on Warlocks or people who attack with cantrips. So an important thing that just kind of helps casters and helps Warlocks, which is one reason that I'm doing this Warlock build for this Honor Mode run. That one warg is kind of lazy, won't try to break out, the other one will. The kid will disengage, so I can't really do anything to catch him. I guess Halcyon could have broken out all along, but just didn't do it so until now. Probably would have gotten killed, so good that he didn't, I guess. Good job, Halcyon. I guess the spiders won't be much use in this fight. You know, I might have wasted them summoning them, to be honest. I thought they'd be more useful in that fight against Gut, and they could have been if it had gone wrong, but as it was, they didn't end up doing that much.
I've got it.
Not the movement. Okay. Well, maybe I'll just dash in and take a pot shot with that bonus action. Halcyon will be a dummy and open up this gate for them so they can attack.
Outmaneuver them.
Go. Can we just finish him? Decent chance, I think. Nice job, everyone.
Looking ahead.
Pardon the viscera. One should cherish all of nature's bounty, but goblin guts are quite far down the list. You aided a bear without knowing if it would savage you.
It was pretty obvious it was you, Halcyon.
A true friend of nature. Or perhaps a lunatic. Either way, I owe thanks. I am the druid Halcyon.
Let's not bring up Nettie right now.
Indeed. Well, not the most opportune moment, but given the lengths you went to, I assume there's some urgency. Come on then, what's the problem? Unless you'd rather wait for an audience of goblins. Oak Father preserve you, child. You're infected, aren't you? The Mind Flayer's spawn. But something's different.
Halsin immediately shows himself to at least be pretty sensible and pretty capable of understanding these things, even if he can't actually fix it. Halsin is one of my favorite characters among the party members, at least. He doesn't get as much development as I would like in Act 3, but you know, what he gets are some pretty good lines, I would say. Even before we knew we had the artifact or whatnot, we still had our own minds, so he's going to go with this explanation for now, but the artifact is clearly related to us staying free for the time being.
Perhaps. But I wouldn't want to place all my faith in blind luck. You weren't speaking lightly when you said you needed help. Let me tell you what I know. I've been studying these parasites for a while now. Ever since I discovered these so-called true souls are infected with them. Someone is using very powerful magic to modify these tadpoles. They're using them to exert control over the infected. I'm sorry to say, I can't undo that magic, which means I can't cure you. But that doesn't mean I can't help. I didn't find what I came here for, a way to remove the tadpoles, but I found the next best thing. I found out where they come from. That must be where these enchantments...
That seems rather far from the next best thing to me.
It's where you'll find your cure.
And that's also kind of a jump, but...
I overheard that the cultists are sending all of their captives to Moonrise Towers. Innocents go in.
So now we see how the pieces fit together. We'd heard they're sending people to Moonrise Towers up until this point, of course. Now we understand it in character.
It has to be the source for this magic. If you want to find a cure, you must head there and discover how...
He's wrong that it has to be the source of this magic, though. I mean, it is, but that's another logical leap. So, maybe my opinion of Halsin is slipping a bit as I listen to this conversation.
I'm as certain as I can be. If you have a better alternative, I won't stop you. I can't stop you, in fact, which brings me to my next problem. I've no right to ask more of you. But if you could help me, I'd be free to join your journey to Moonrise. I cannot allow these...
He does like this idea, this guy coming with us to Moonrise. He does seem like one of the more useful allies we've come across so far.
My thanks. If you prevail, I'll owe you the debt of a lifetime. Rare is the beast that survives decapitation. Help me eliminate the...
There's a decent number of two-headed critters in this universe.
And that perversion of a...
I guess if you get rid of all their heads, they usually die.
They are the ones holding these parasites together. Remove them, and nature will cure itself. There is no safety. Not while this rot festers. Once it is cut out, once the grove is secure, then I shall leave.
Alright, so wait here in danger rather than getting to safety, I guess. Suit yourself.
That's all it will take to restore the balance here.
Alright, well. Let us prepare to fight Dror Raglan and Minthara next time. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you for watching, everyone. And a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Frank Maidens, Master Knight DH, Jackie, and Lino, George Grin, Travis, Carlo Andrea 97, Cthulhu's Mom, Gregory, William Wakefield, Danny Hall, Jeffrey Morse, Just Becca, Jack, Austin Livingston, Mashas01, Jacob Marshall, Nubiana, Till Fisher, Latinx, Discord Colossus, Nicholas Schmuck, Kostya Nesterovich, Vol the Great, Luke Frederick Brune, Goman Blackrock, Dodo King 4, Martian Bialek, Techno Waffle, Mavith, Nebular, I Loop, Michael Francis, Emperor Kong 420, and Robin Maki. Have a great day, everyone.